Good evening, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Ahavat Shalom. For those of you here in the sanctuary, it's great to see you in person. For those of you watching from at home, wish you Shabbat Shalom as well and hope you enjoy the service. I'm Rabbi Matt Berger. I'm joined on the bima with our soloist, Allison Rosoff. We celebrate on this Shabbat with Micah Pinsker, who will become a bar mitzvah tomorrow morning at our Shabbat morning service, and he'll also be leading some of the prayers this evening as well. And down at the keyboard on the piano are accompanist Joy Katzen-Guthrie. We invite you to follow along using the screen. We've got the Hebrew, the transliteration, as well as the prayer book. And our first opening song is actually taken from the Psalms, Hine Matov Umanayim. This is going to be an English version called How Good It Is, written by Ellen Allard. We'll sing the Hebrew as well. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good it is to be together. How good it is to be together. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is to be together. How good it is to be together. Whoa, 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 whoa. Going to turn now to the lighting of the Shabbat candles. First we'll sing Light These Lights. You'll find the blessing on page 2 in your prayer books. And it's my honor and pleasure to call forward to light the candles Bonnie Pinsker and Dina Nylander.
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign spirit of the universe, commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik shel Shabbat.
So a little bit of a surprise for you this evening. So all this time, you've seen that we've got some really nice stained glass, 20 different panels of stained glass. The late Patricia Bild was one of 3 people who helped design it with a stained glass artist in Orlando, and I've been told she would go back and forth to work on the design. And David Bild, her son, approached me to potentially light them from behind. It's actually quite difficult to light stained glass panels. So we brought out a few electricians and tried to find the right way to do it. And evidently these Lexan panels, which you really can't see, but they're adhered to the hurricane-proof glass. There's basically the stained glass, there's a bit of air, and then there's the hurricane-proof glass, and then silicone sealed to that, and there'll soon be brackets, are these Lexan panels, and they're going to be LED lit. So it really, the first time that I came into the sanctuary, especially at night, I'm like, man, wouldn't it be great to light these panels, because they're really quite gorgeous. So here it is. We had a wonderful dedication with 3 generations of the Bild family. Rabbi Klein and I were there, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. I'm going here because I have to turn the plug on. And there you have it. So it's really nice. And actually during the day, it lets in sunlight very well. And then it also brightens it up during the day as well. But basically there are 20 of these Lexan panels, and they really look quite beautiful. You'll notice on top there's a Torah scroll, and it actually surprises people because some people don't know exactly what it says. So it says Ahavat on the right scroll, and then Shalom, the name of the temple. On the left, you've got a 7-branch menorah, and then, of course, the 10 Commandments on Allison's side. So I am very happy to see this project come to fruition, and definitely thank the Bild family for their generosity and in many ways fulfilling the late Pat Bild's vision of bringing beauty to the sanctuary. We're going to turn now to the words of Lecha Dodi. You'll find them on page 20 and 21. Beloved, come to meet the bride. Beloved, come to greet Shabbat. We're going to be singing this to Simon and Garfunkel's Scarborough Fair, which is always a wonderful classic. When we get to that final verse, where we ask for the bride symbolically to come in peace, Boiva Shalom, at that point, I'll motion to the best of my ability while I play guitar for you to rise, and you can symbolically greet the Shabbat bride at one of the doorways. So please sing along. We're in C minor. Lecha dodi likrat Allah. Denei Shabbat nikabla. Nei dodi likrat Allah. Denei Shabbat nikabla.
Shmor v'zachor b'ribo b'chad, Hishmianu el hamichad.
Adonai echad u'shmo echad. Shemu tiferet v'lihilah. Likrat Shabbat lekuvenecha. Ki mekor haberacha. Merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof mahaseh b'mashava tilah. Uri, Uri, Shir Daberi. Kivod Adonai Alayeh Nigla. Let's rise and greet the bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala. Gam b'simcha uv'sola. Toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat Allah. Enei Shabbat nikabla. Lecha dodi likrat Allah. Enei Shabbat nikabla. Feel free to be seated. Allison will lead us on page 26, the words of the half Kaddish, the Hatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah, b'yamad yivrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dekol b'nei Yisrael, bagala bagala u'v'zman kariv v'imaru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olam me'amaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnasei v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei dekudesha brichu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata
Ata v'nechem ata damirang b'yama v'imeru. Amen. Let's rise for Shema and its blessings, beginning with the call to prayer, the Baruch. Lai lai, lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai, lai lai lai, lai Adonai Amevorach Leolam Vahem. Yai, yai, lai, yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, lai, lai. Feel free to join me on page 31, a prayer for creation. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. And turning to words of love on page 33, you'll find Ahavat Olam. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. The more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works in the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We'll sing Open Up Our Eyes. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. And we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Feel free to be seated, and we'll continue chanting the words of the Shema. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh Asher Anohi mitzavcha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני Adonai Elohechem. Let's read together, preparing for words of freedom on 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we are taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. There is a better place, a promised land. The winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. There is no way to get from there to here except by joining hands, marching together. You'll find the words of Who is Like You, Mi Chamocha, on page 40. Mi Chamocha Bailim Adonai, Mi Chamocha Nedar Bakodesh, Mi Chamocha Bailim Adonai, Mi Chamocha Nedar Bakodesh, Norati Lo Osefele, Norati Lo Osefele. Mi Chamocha Bailim Adonai, Mi Chamocha Nedar Bakodesh, Mi Chamocha Bailim Adonai, Mi Chamocha Nedar Bakodesh, Norati Lo Osefele, Norati Lo Osefele. Continue with the closing words of the blessing. Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praise are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. We'll turn now to page 42, words of protection and shelter, the Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Lehamidenu Shomreinu Lechayim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Lishalom Lehamidenu Shomreinu Lechayim. Ushmor Zeitenu Uvoenu L'chaim u'shalom Me'atah ve'ad olam. Oivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim V'hamidenu Shomreinu Lechaim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukkot shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Now at this point, it's my pleasure to call upon our bar mitzvah, Micah, and he'll be leading us beginning with Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, Adonai Open My Lips, found on page 46. Please rise.
Adonai Sifatai Tiftach Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips and my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Ve'Elohei Avotenu V'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Ve'Elohei Leah. Ha-El, Ha-Gadol, Ha-Gibor, V'Hanara, El Yon Gomel, Hasadim, Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, Zoher, Hasdei, Avot, V'Imahot, Umevi, Geula, Livnei, V'Neihem, Lema'an, Shemo, B'Hava, Melech, Ozer, Umoshia, Umagen, Baruch, Atah, Adonai, Magen, Avraham, Betzrat, Sarah. Atagi borlelam Adonai mehaye hakol. Atarav loshia mashiv haruach umarid hagashem mehakel hayim beheset mehaye hakol berahamim rabim. So make Rofei holim umatir asurim kayem emunato li shenei yafar. Mi ha-moha ba'o giverot, umi domechla, melech meimid, hayeh, umatzmi ha-yeshua, v'ne'eman lehayot hakol, baruch atah Adonai mehayeh hakol.
Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'kol yom yalu chasela, baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Feel free to be seated, and let's all say Yasher Koach, which means strength to you, Micah. Beautiful leading of those prayers. At this point, we'll continue with the three intermediate prayers of the Tefillah. The first of which for the sanctity of Shabbat, Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. The second, asking that God's presence always remains with Israel, with Zion. Baruch atah Adonai HaMachazir Shechinato L'Tzion. And then our prayer of gratitude called Hoda'ah, or Thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai HaTov Shimcha And we'll conclude the tefillah with our song of peace. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha. Grant abundant peace to Israel, your people, forever. You're the sovereign God of all peace. May it be pleasing to you to bless your people Israel in every season and moment with your peace. Blessed are you, God, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai hamvarech et amo Yisrael. Shalom. Feel free at this time for your own personal thoughts and meditations, and Allison will lead us in a meditation which includes words on page 62, and then Oseh Shalom, may the one who makes peace.
Yehu liratzon imrifi. Yehu liratzon imrifi. Vegyon libi lifanecha. Adonai, Turi vegoali. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable before you. Oh God, my rock and my redeemer. Oh, say shalom bimromai. We are say shalom aleinu. V'yakol Yisrael v'miru amen.
Let's turn now to the middle of the prayer book on page 253. You'll find the words of Misha Berah, God the one who blesses those who are in need of a refuah shlema, full and complete healing. On this Shabbat, in addition to all those who are suffering due to COVID and those injured in the recent extreme weather events in the midsection of our country, we'll add the following names to our prayers of healing: Yonatan Ruven Ben Rivka, Charlie Burke, Janice Kane, Lisa Cargile, Elise Cohen, Manuel Cruz, Eddie Deerfield, Evelyn Edelman, Heather Felser, Brad Fischelow, Sue Fischelow, Harry Fleisch, Peggy Gerson, Jerry Gottlieb, Leah Gottlieb, Denise Freifeld, Arthur Maller, Ed Marks, Bob Masarski, Arnold Miller, William Miller, Hal Rosenberg, Stephanie Ross, Phyllis Schachter, Arlene Charlotte, Cyril Chagrin, Joel Shapiro, and Jeff Sark. And if there are any other names to add for healing at this time, feel free.
My father, George Stark.
Sheberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
There's a custom that's followed in many synagogues. After the final verses of a book of Torah is read or chanted, the congregation stands up. And as a group, the congregation recites the following Hebrew words: Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek, which means be strong, and let us be strengthened. Most of the time it's chanted. First, the service leader leads it, sings it, and then the congregation sings the words right back at him or her. So why these words at the end of Torah? There are two theories about how it came to be. The first is that it's a riff on the charge or blessing that Moses gave to the Israelites as well as to his successor, Joshua, in the book of Deuteronomy. Speaking to the Israelites, Moses first tells the people, Chizku ve'imsu, be strong and courageous. Fear not, for God will be with you. Then a little bit later on, Moses calls Joshua over and says to him, Chazak ve'ematz. A little bit different. Be strong and of good courage, for you will bring the people of Israel into the promised land. The Hebrew words imsu and ematz are really synonyms. They both share the same root letters. Incidentally, in the book of Joshua, we read that God gives the prophet this exact same charge right after Moses dies. Here, God is assuring Joshua that he will lead the people to victory with strength when they enter Israel. Given that Moses and God's charges share the same first word, chazak, meaning strength, there's a lot going for this theory, theory number one. Of course, not everyone agrees. You know how it is, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. Well, one scholar, whose name is Jeffrey T. Gay, believes that the phrase chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek is taken straight out of the prophets. And I think he might be right, specifically in the second book of Samuel. In this book, we read about David, the warrior, poet, and king. As David prepares to go into battle, David brings forth his trusty general, whose name was Yoav, and gives him a pep talk. He says to Yoav, Chazak v'nit chazek, be strong, and let us together be strengthened, for the sake of our people and for the towns of our God. Now that's just about spot on. The only difference is that we say or chant the word chazak twice when we complete a book of the Torah. At this point, you may or may not be wondering when this custom began. If so, sit back, relax, and listen. It was first seen or witnessed or maybe heard in 19th century Germany. However, the ritual was a bit different back then. The phrase was the same, Chazak v'nit chazek, be strong and let us be strengthened, but instead the congregation addressed it to the person who had just read or chanted the final verses of the book of Torah. And even before that, people just called out to the Torah reader, Chazak, meaning be strong. This, Tigay says, was the custom in Ashkenazic synagogues, where Jews originally hailed from Europe or Russia. In Sephardic synagogues, where Jews hailed originally from Spain or the Middle East or North Africa, the custom was a bit different, but not by much, because here the congregation would say Chazak uvaruch, which means be strong and be blessed. Any way you slice it, the phrase has the effect of saying, great job, you who just read Torah. You worked hard and you chanted or you read the verses very well, much like Micah will do tomorrow, I'm sure. Congratulations to you. for reading the final aliyah or verses in the book. It's just like when we said a few minutes ago, Yasher Koach to Michael, which means strength to you or well done for leading a particular prayer or set of prayers. I think that the current iteration of the blessing, Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek, be strong, and be strengthened, represents the best of both worlds. First, because it acknowledges the Torah reader for their hard work. And second, V'nit Chazek, and let us all be strengthened, it's a blessing and a prayer for everyone who's there in the congregation, in that it asks that all of us who are present read, engage with, understand, and ultimately complete the other 4 books of the Torah, to draw strength from its wisdom and its enduring lessons. Looking at the word chazak, strength, like many Hebrew words, it can have a lot of different meanings. This may be why we recite the word 3 times. Just for instance, I'll give you a handful of other possible translations. Chazak can also mean to support, to preserve, to be bound or attached to encourage, to keep, to prove helpful, and to uphold, all from the same 3-letter Hebrew root, all of those synonyms. A modern commentator named Rabbi Ari Lev suggests that every single time we repeat the phrase, we're calling on its varied attributes. In other words, we're asking that the words of Torah that we hear will support and encourage each of us on our own journey to wholeness and connection. And by repeating the word chazak, strength, 3 times, they forever become a part of us. All of us in life face obstacles. There are many challenges that we need to contend with and overcome in our personal journey. For some, it may be a health issue. For others, it may be a family crisis of sorts. Being a parent, of course, means that there are many, many blessings, but also disputes and quarrels will inevitably crop up now and then. Whenever we navigate unfamiliar territory, it's natural for us to need support, experience fear, or perhaps anxiety. Saying these words as a community, chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek, be strong, and let us be strengthened, makes us even more aware that we need to rely on one another for support and strength, that we can't do it alone. We need help to get us through life's journey and the wilderness. Thankfully, we're blessed with many tools for strengthening one another. Just this week, I'll give you 2 examples. Members of our congregation were preparing meals and delivered a whole bunch of presents for kids residing at the Grace House and the Haven. This wonderful project, sponsored by our Social Action Committee, brought much-needed light to children, adults, and families during the holiday season. And just a couple of days ago, members of our Temple Sisterhood brought home-cooked chicken soup to the Temple kitchen to store in our freezer. These meals, an initiative of the Sisterhood's Caring Committee, will be given to individuals in need of a pick-me-up while they're at home dealing with personal illness. Because there's truth to the adage that a good chicken soup is like Jewish penicillin. I think that all of us, especially now, as a new variant called Omicron looms on the horizon, could benefit from a bit of renewed strength. As much as we'd like to say genug, enough of the virus, it seems to have a pernicious knack of hanging around, just when we're good and ready to put it in the rearview mirror. Earlier this week, I was talking with a rabbinic colleague of mine over coffee, and he shared with me a section from an inspiring book that he read a couple of years ago called Everything Happens for a Reason. In it, the author, Kate Bowler, suggests that we need to ask ourselves 2 questions each and every day. The first, what do I have to give today? And second, who will I give my extra to today? Now, depending on how we're feeling, our answer to question 1 may be we've got a lot to give. Maybe not so much, or perhaps not much at all. At any given moment, the amount of gas we have in our emotional or physical tank, so to speak, can vary. But even if we're feeling a bit depleted, I believe it's possible to muster the strength to give our extra to someone we love, or perhaps even share it with an acquaintance or a total stranger, to brighten somebody else's day and show them that the world is still filled with hope. Saying chazak, chazak for strength isn't something that we should only say when we complete a book of Torah. This phrase, to be strong, reminds us that we always have something to give, even if we have to reach deep, deep down to find that inner strength. And the last word, v'nit chazek, tells us that we can't do it alone, because sometimes we really do need to rely on the strength of others to find a sense of courage ourselves. Every couple months or so, we make the transition from one book of Torah to the next. At the end of the Shabbat, we'll wave goodbye to Genesis for about a year, knowing full well that we'll come back to it soon enough. And next week, we'll begin a new book, Exodus, once again, learning about the lives of our biblical ancestors, the Israelites' hopes and dreams, along with their trials and challenges, and ultimately their redemption from the hands of a very bad Pharaoh. Moreover, we'll learn how a man named Moses, who's said to be simple and humble, learns to trust in himself, and how he finds faith and strength to lead the Israelites on their special journey. In doing so, perhaps we too will draw strength and inspiration from his example. So now, wherever you are, whether you're sitting in the sanctuary or if you're watching from at home, I'd like for all of us to take a moment to honor this custom as we come to the end of the book of Genesis. So let's all rise together, either in body or in spirit, and repeat these words after me. First, I'll sing them to you, and then you can sing them right back. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Be strong, and let us all be strengthened. Shabbat shalom. Actually, you can stay standing because we're going right to the Aleinu, which you'll find on page 272, and I'll ask Micah to help me open the ark for these words of adoration.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות הרמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
free to be seated. We'll continue now on page 294. Here you'll find the words of Mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Yatom. We first think of families in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days, mourning a loved one. So we remember Wesley Reeves, father of Anna Reeves, Larry Hilds, brother of Audrey Schechter, and we note the recent passing of Tello Bagaj, whose funeral is on Sunday, father of our own Gimme Bagaj. We also mark the yahrzeit anniversary of passing of loved ones on this Shabbat for the following individuals. So we remember Hannah Baker, Adrian Curiel, Beth Leah Diamond Fisher, Anita Elias, Ida Fishman, Joseph Frankel, Bernie Grant, Etta Greenhouse, Richard Harding, Lillian Cadies, Sidney Kaufman, Hortense Kent, Carol Landis, Keith Lawrence, Bernice Lesser, Ruben Markowitz, Jack Moskowitz, Richard Allen Posner, Rita Rose, Esther Sargrad, Max Schwartz, Leib Sok, Rose Soloshatz, Adele Spiegelman, Jeannie Stein, Milton Mendel Strauss, Jacob Weiss, Shirley Wenig, and Edward Ziesler. Are there any other names to add for yahrzeit at this time? We say Zichronam Livracha. May the memories of all of these good people continue to be a blessing in their loved ones' lives as we rise together to offer these words of praise called Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach yirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeta kol beit Yisrael, b'agalav v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivarach le'olam ulamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha b'rihu. Elamin kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran yalma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who causes peace in the heavens cause peace to descend on us, Israel, and the world, as we say, Amen.
V'miru, 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 amen. V'miru, 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 amen.
Feel free to be seated. It's my pleasure to call upon Micah once again. He's going to help us lead the Kiddush for the fruit of the vine. You'll find them right on the screen, the words, and also on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedishanu musasav v'rasa vanu v'shabbat kodesh uvratzon hin hautanu zikaron lama sevareshit ki hu yon tila lameku kadesh seker litzirat mitzrayim ki vanu v'harta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kadesh behava uvratzon hin hautanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-shabbat, amen.
Amen. Let's say l'chaim, to life.
I'm good.
And we'll sing a word to the Motzi together. Motzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Once again, let's say Yasher Koach to Micah for leading the Kiddush beautifully, as well as the Motzi. Just a few brief announcements. Many thanks to Allison and Joy for their beautiful music this evening. And a very special thank you to our tech crew in back, Bruce Lois, and coming in at the very last minute, thank you so much, Marty Satinoff, saving the day. I definitely owe you one, and Marcia, thanks for being a part for him during the Shabbat service. So many, many thanks. Our Shabbat morning minyan, which has been on hiatus pretty much since COVID began, will start once again the third Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. It's about a 1-hour service that will lead right up here. The first iteration of that is on Saturday, January 15th, and I'll be there. And most of the service is going to be led by our own Dr. Ron Gilbert. Next Friday, I'm going to be taking some R&R, a little bit of vacation, and Rabbi Gary Klein will be here leading services solo. So that will be a wonderful opportunity to see Rabbi Gary Klein once again in action, and I thank him in advance for leading services. And right after our closing song, which will be Hava Nashira, Come, Let Us Sing, we'll have the opportunity to enjoy a special oneg outside. Heard the Pinskers have brought some special pastries and goodies, so that'll be a lot of fun for us to enjoy. So let's sing together. Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah. Come, let us sing a song of praise. Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. 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 We'll conclude our service with a prayer for our health and well-being. Importance of wearing a mask when we're out and about, especially with the new variant here. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kichanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al shmirat hanefesh, which is the mitzvah sacred obligation to take care of our health and the health of those in our community. Wish you all a Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much for joining us at services, and have a great rest of the evening. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you. Beautiful sermon.